Guard the Lieutenant Dwarf. You step into my Readier Room, please, and bring a tricorder with you.
Hi, Captain. What do you make of this? I am puzzled, sir. The only detectable bioelectrical symbols are your own. You did not know. I did not.
Hello, and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week of the year, we're bringing you an episode of TNG, along with all the behind-the-scenes stories straight from the mouths of the babes that made that show. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant of Services at Paramount. With me is my life partner, Brandon Hobbs, who is certainly a babe. Brandon, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How's your little corner of paradise over there?
Oh, well, you know, I've hung some posters, I got new curtains on the window, and I make the most of it.
Yeah. The good thing about our arrangement, especially in light of recent events, is that we can't get monkeypox.
Yes, that's true. Normally we'd be, in the at-risk group, but...
very at risk.
Right, but, fate kind of worked itself out, and now, for once, we're on top.
I will say I do miss the days of gargling random men's piss all night.
I miss the days of sucking on prolapsed anuses.
Those are always a treat.
You don't...
It's like an ice cream after baseball practice.
Right, and, it's just like squeezing your own lemonade. The freshest prolapsed anuses are the ones that you prolapse yourself.
you gotta squeeze yourself. Oh man, what's going on? You know what? This is. It's always been a political podcast. Right?
Everything's political.
Everything's political, especially Star Trek. And it's like the people who say, new Star Trek's too woke, right?
It's like, what did you think it always was?
It's always been woke.
Right. I know, because on more than one occasion, I was the one who woke it up.
Yeah.
Which is a kind of the menial job.
You were there at the start.
They used to give some of the the hands around set. Go wake Trek up.
Just start screaming and crying.
We'd have that episode where all the black society was portrayed as tribal Africans, and the next week, go wake it up. Go wake it up.
Oh man. What was I segueing into?
Garbage can. I don't know. It's usually where my
how
segue
about I
adventures
ask you,
end.
what's your favorite political story of the last week?
My favorite political story of the last week, I guess I would have to say the continuously unfolding courtroom drama of the hearings concerning the United States' attempted coup of itself.
Oh yeah. I watch. Don't ask me why. I watch British TV, like British news.
Oh, don't worry,
because it's streaming on YouTube.
I know exactly why you watch British news.
Why?
Because you can feel just a little bit more superior.
It's quirky. British news. It's drier. It's a little more quirky.
I love the idea,
but
it's like watching. You don't get the humor. It's just a newscast.
Yeah. But my point was that they've been spending a ridiculous amount of time on this stuff, and I haven't really been paying too much attention to it, despite it always being on in the background. But it is it's kind of pathetic in general.
Well, I'm not usually one to just be an LOL Trump guy. Like that's not substantive enough of a joke. But the idea of him kind of trying to reach over the back of the driver's chair and grip the steering wheel is just funny. The incompetence rather of the Secret Service. Just deleting their text messages and then being found out about it. It's all just inherently comical.
Yeah. I mean, everything about it, no matter how you approach the situation, is just completely ridiculous. But my favorite story
Go on.
was AOC pretending to get arrested.
I haven't heard this one.
Well, she did get, quote, arrested, but she pretended to get handcuffed. So there are like these basically it was a photo op. There are these photos of her and Ilhan Omar being led away from a protest by police. And I don't know if Omar did this too. I think she did, but AOC definitely did, where she placed her arms behind her back as if she were being handcuffed.
Now,
and it was only from one or two photos that you could see she was not handcuffed at all.
I could have. This isn't like, oh, I'm preparing to be handcuffed. They told me to put my hands behind my back.
No.
Okay.
No, this was this was just like mid-walk. She decided to do that. At one point, she raised one of her arms up and waved at someone, and then put it right back, as if she was handcuffed again.
So, what were they doing that they were in this situation?
I believe it was an abortion protest, like a pro-choice protest.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why the police had to split it up. I didn't read that far into it because I don't really care.
Well, I think the answer is because they're fascists.
No, this is pro-choice.
No, why they split it up? They split up the pro-choice because they're fascists.
The police. That's okay. Yes, you're right. Actually, that really tracks. That's ACAB and all that.
Right.
just two random cops, probably just getting off of duty, and they're like, you know what we should do? Go harass protesters. I'm surprised they didn't shoot them.
I'm surprised more people don't buy cop uniforms and just break up protests for fun.
Are you surprised by that? I have a feeling that's like specifically illegal.
Oh, it certainly is. Impersonating a police officer is definitely illegal, but some guy walks up. All right, let's move along.
I mean, I guess when you say I'm surprised more people haven't done it, I will have to agree. Just like technically, yes, I am surprised you don't hear about it ever.
Right.
It does seem
I'm
like
not saying it's a good
do.
idea. I'm just saying that I'm surprised more people don't do it.
You know what I think about often is doing that in hospitals, but like with like the white lab coat and the scrubs.
Okay. Now impersonating a doctor or a nurse?
Yeah. A doctor, of course, not a.
Can I go off here? I
nurse.
really, I'm gonna take potentially a bold stance and say I have zero respect for nurses.
No, not 100%. Okay, look, obviously we have to qualify this. Not every nurse is a bad person.
Right.
Much like not every police officer is a bad person. However,
a lot of them
nurses are 9 out of 10 times, they're like airheaded Stacy's who, I don't know why they get into nursing, but it's like a thing for them. Like they're always like former cheerleaders. It's either that or like a frumpy girl that no one liked.
Yeah.
There's like nothing in between.
It's amazing with the frumpy ones because they're the ones that their own health is obviously in jeopardy. They're round, like they just look like they're
rotund,
3 steps out of the grave. And this is the person that like I have to turn to. But no matter who it is, again, in 99% of the time, the nurse is just so ornery and reluctant to be of any assistance.
Sure. And then there's like this sort of air of superiority as if they're a doctor.
Right.
When it's like,
which I think feeds into why they're so unhelpful.
Yeah, probably. But it's like, I know, like you're a nurse. I know you don't have that much actual hard knowledge up in that empty fucking head of yours. I know it. So let's cut it out and maybe you can take my blood pressure or something and get the fuck out of here. And then there's 2 groups of people that I think we found over the past 2 or 3 years that never shut the fuck up about their jobs.
So we got nurses.
Right? We got nurses and then like grade school teachers, right? Like always on TikTok, always TikToking about what happened during their day. The nurses are like always dancing about how someone died. The teachers are always like, I I made my kids call me by my pronouns today. You know,
the thing is,
and it's like,
yeah,
they're the only two jobs where like the people who work them don't just shut the fuck up, do their jobs, and go home.
right.
You know,
I mean, I can at least. I have a little bit more respect for the grade school teacher, assuming, because in my experience, most of them don't seem to actively impede the people that they're working with. In this case, the students.
Well,
I mean, of course, yeah, there's plenty of shit teachers and asshole teachers, but I don't think it's as high a prevalence as the nursing profession.
It's not like an enraging customer service experience.
Right.
I will say that.
Most of the annoyance comes on social media, after their job.
Sure.
Which is certainly annoying and high on themselves, but in the time they're doing their job, I think nurses are a lot more offensive.
Right. Speaking of which, we gotta get like segments going. Like we can have like Trans Watch, and then just little beeps like boop 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 boop.
Okay, well we just finished our weekly misogyny segment, so it's time to move on.
Have you seen this? I think this just started circulating today or yesterday, but there's some Reddit post on like, I don't know, our anarchy or something like that.
Is this about
how?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I want you to guess it. Go ahead.
Is this the one where it's like how to prepare for the coming genocide
of trans people? Yes. Yeah. And my favorite part about the post, which I would guess might also be yours, is that they immediately qualify it by saying not everyone needs to be a fighter.
Oh God.
Like, some of us can make art and dance.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
There was one part I liked. It was a real throwaway where they said something to the effect of go to the preppers forums, which, by the way, is just a very funny phrase.
Yeah, that's good.
And ask them for advice on stockpiling and all this stuff. But,
like types of ammo.
Right, but at the very end, it's just as a stand. Don't tell them you're trans, and it's just so I don't know, tinfoil hat. Like, oh, if you tell these random people on the internet you're trans, they're gonna find you and kill you. And I mean, obviously, the whole post is batshit crazy, but I don't know. That kind of encapsulated it very, very succinctly to me.
It's really funny. It's really funny because it's like, yeah, you can. I mean, I don't think it's true, but you could make the argument that, okay, yeah, maybe a lot of people just despise trans people, whatever. But the argument that they want to kill them all is really pushing it.
Well, you see, when trans kids don't get access to affirmative medical care, they basically kill themselves, and that is genocide.
Yeah, to a degree, you're killing a whole person who could have existed.
Indeed. I think that and this isn't really a revelatory take, but I think that there's a fundamental either misunderstanding or mischaracterization of a lot of the transphobic people, in that a lot of them, especially with the children stuff, are primarily motivated in protecting the kids. To say that they would want to like literally kill them, genocide them, is I think is not really understanding their position. It's it's what happens when hyperbolic language is taken to a further extreme. Like, this is literally genocide, therefore these people literally want to line up all these kids and shoot them against the wall.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It is kind of this like this slope where people start saying, like, words are violence, and now all of a sudden, again, genocide is being planned within 2 years.
Why 2 years? Is that the end of the presidential cycle?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because that was the quote. 2 years is going to happen.
Yeah. So the idea is that Trump's going to come back and institute a tyrannical empire like Star Wars,
I'm sure. Wasn't it just
So-
6 months ago where everybody was saying that people who believed that Trump could come back into power are, insane conspiracy theorists?
Well, yeah, I mean, people have always been saying that, but ever since Biden, was inaugurated, it's been a conversation. One side's like, "Oh, Trump's gonna come back and own the libs," and then another side is like, like that's stupid, that's impossible, no one's gonna vote for him again. And then another side is shrieking,
Trump's gonna
and,
come back and own the libs.
yeah, exactly, yeah. But this genocide talk, it's really funny because it really just reflects, it's projection. You know what I mean? It's what these people would do to people who disagree with them if they could.
Right. So you have
So,
absolute
it's like-
power, so the next logical step is is a violent genocide.
Right. Whereas it's like, no, I mean, I think most people are just disagreeing with your opinions and what certain laws should be and stuff like that.
The thing is that when
they don't want to kill you.
when gays were vilified en masse and gay marriage was illegal and there was violence in some parts of the country that were more backwater. Even then, there was no genocidal push. It was it ranged from people committing illegal violence, and that was persecuted, to a quiet distaste, which was also
Sure.
bigotry, but there was none of this government mandated murder that that they're dreaming of here.
Right. Yeah, no, and there's another thing. They can't distinguish between isolated incidents, isolated acts of violence from someone who can't control themselves, and society at large. So, but on that note, thankfully the gays are going to become more vilified once again, thanks to the spread of that monkeypox.
Yeah. They've
We're really returning with a V.
it really makes me nostalgic to be walked outside and looked at like a leper. Haven't had that experience in 30 years. It's fun, really.
I mean, you remember back like 500 years ago when they tried to stone us.
Right? It's been a long time coming. As have I. And hopefully we can get another Magic Johnson experience. Perhaps let's stick with basketball. Perhaps LeBron. I have monkeypox, and everyone says, "Oh, LeBron, why did you have sex with all those men?" And he said, "I didn't have sex with all those men." And then the news conference, everyone gasps. Oh my God! If it can happen to LeBron, anybody can get it. Now, it was always my theory that Magic Johnson's intense rivalry with Larry Bird kept him in good health. Now, I don't have anything to back that up, but
where is this going?
What do you mean? It's just a theory. Do you ever have a thought? Do you ever think?
Okay.
Have you thought a day in your life?
We go from like AIDS to Larry Bird.
You should know this about me, that all things track back to Larry Bird, Larry Legend.
Larry Bird is funny.
Larry Bird,
just by virtue of existing,
looks more like a bird the older he gets.
Yeah, which is really, it really starts to make you think about, does he look like a bird because he was named Bird?
Right. I named my dog Bird, and 3 years later, I just had a pet bird.
It flew away.
Yeah. Now, here's a question. Oh my God, I completely lost it. Where was I going?
Awesome. That was great.
Oh, Larry Bird.
Looks like a bird. Magic Johnson. AIDS. Monkeypox. Come on.
Oh, geez. I've lost it. I'm,
Charles Barkley.
you're just naming basketball things. Now, rest assured, I do enjoy a good Charles Barkley. As I'm sure many people do.
Charles Barkley.
Oh.
Mm.
Barles Charkley.
That would be what his name would be if you switched the first letters of his first and last name. Anyway.
I'm really, really distraught that I forgot my point, because it was assuredly insightful and hilarious.
Well, maybe you'll remember it over the next 3 hours.
Right, so I can interrupt our discussion on Deep Trek minutia to say, what Larry Bird rhymes with turd, and whatever level of nuance I would bring to the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I bought, do you know what an EVO is?
Is it like E-Bow?
Let me check. Yes.
It's
Now don't look it up.
it's a no, I'm not looking it up. It's a bow that you use to train your bow and arrow skills that measures the force with which you pull on it.
That's a good guess. Not
Uh-huh.
really, but no. It's okay. So what are different meanings of the word bow?
Well, there's like the bow that you tie.
Well, that's a ribbon.
No, but like a bow tie.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Huh. Gotcha.
Well, I lose. I've lost the
there's-
podcast.
There's a rainbow.
Okay.
I don't know what's Bowie about that, but
Or rainy, for that matter.
there's Tybo.
You're not trying.
What do you mean I'm not trying?
Because I'm talking about the word bow, and you're just appending bow onto other suffixes.
All right, well, fucking cry about it.
I am. I mean, you can't see the tears straining down my face from over there, but
Okay, well, look, there's the bow and arrow. There's a bow tie, bow, like that's it. What else is there?
there's more. There's at least
Bowed
one.
legs.
There's at least one more, and it's not bowed
Bow.
legs. Think music.
Oh, like a violin.
Yes. So the bow is the
Oh, I know this
yeah.
vaguely, but yeah. Describe it.
So the bow, which just for the people at home, a bow is what you drag along the strings of a cello or violin to produce sound. What an EVO is a small apparatus that you hold above the strings of an electric instrument and causes them to continuously ring out to sustain. And it creates a different sound because there's no hard attack on the instrument you're playing. Rather, it's just a continuous vibration akin to a bow. So it's
which is important because guitars don't really have very high defense.
Exactly. You don't want to break it. So I bought one of these, and it's pretty neat. It takes some learning and how to get the most out of it, I've found. Because the angle at which you approach the strings, the distance, the angle on several different axes can all affect the output.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I've been monkeypoxing around with.
That's pretty cool. Does it only work with certain kinds of strings, or what?
It needs to have a metallic pickup underneath where you're holding it.
Oh, okay.
So it works with any electric instrument, but it won't work with an acoustic one. But it's neat, and it's got a cool little LED light on it. Maybe even an OLED.
An OLED light. Cool. So you gonna record with it?
Probably. I don't want to record with it just to record with it. I want to wait until I have it sounding in a respectable manner, until I'm using it well enough. So don't know what the timetable is on that.
The first time for everything.
What, having standards?
No, cool. I'm looking forward to hearing it. That sounds really cool.
Have you heard of these before? These EVOs?
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a neat little thing. It might join my my thumb piano in the realm of things I bought and used once. My
right
god!
Right next to your Zelda-themed ocarina.
That's right. I have to go off though. That thumb piano that I bought, tuning that was the most laborious experience of my life. Do you know what these things look like?
I've forgotten.
So it's basically like a series of metal rods held in place by a nut, and the length of the rod before and after the nut kind of determines its pitch.
Okay.
And you just kind of like flick each rod to make it produce a note. But to tune it, they give you a small little hammer, and you just have to hammer in either side of the rod to adjust its distance. And I'm talking like very, very minute adjustments.
Right.
But if you hit it softly enough, it doesn't really move the thing. So you have to like hit it hard, but not too hard, because then it'll go too far. And it's so annoying. That is the reason I have not used that thing more than once in a recording. It is bad.
That's it sounds like a hacking minigame.
It kind of is. And I got to do this hundreds of times over the next 50 hours. Fuck that.
Right, sure.
But you really feel like a dwarf tinkerer with the little hammer they give you.
Well, you know what? Maybe you should purchase the services of a dwarf.
Yeah, just to sit on my shoulders all day?
Well, no. He comes and visits and tunes your little piano and then leaves.
Okay. Do I have to build...
He's at a much better scale.
Do I have to build a little door for him inside of my regular door? I call it my dwarf door. Have you ever met a Dwarf Fortress guy?
No.
I haven't.
But I can imagine them.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know what image I should attach to the Dwarf Fortress guy. Because on one hand, you certainly need a healthy dose of autism to indulge in that kind of chicanery. But by the same token, they're probably pretty chill guys. You know? Maybe
yeah, well, they're certainly not in it for anything but the joy of it.
And it's such a niche thing that they can't be, so worked up about it. Like, it takes a lot of intention to get into Dwarf Fortress that it has to select for a certain personality type. And I imagine the Dwarf Fortress guy archetype is autistic yet enjoyable, spurgy yet refined.
Yeah. Well, you never. There's a really fine line between like annoying autistic and like cool autistic.
Yeah.
Even if we're talking about like someone who's not part of some weird
sex
like Blue Hedgehog fan base. Yeah, or basically the same thing. On that note, I've really wanted to try out this Rim World.
I've seen that lying around, that Rim World.
It's basically just it's a more graphical Dwarf Fortress in space, I guess. But...
Wasn't it the name of the club we used to go to in the 90s?
You come to think of it, you'll never guess what they did did there.
A lot of dunking, a lot of one-on-one basketball. So what appeals to you about it?
Oh, I mean, it's just it's kind of like it's very open ended. You know, you create your little guys, and I guess you try not to have your civilization destroy itself. But there's like a lot of different stats. It's kind of neat looking. I don't know, but it's always like $35. It's never on sale.
What's the best part of the game? Oh, it's got stats.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what I mean. It's sort of like The Sims, where it's like you just. It seems like the kind of game where, I mean, obviously it's more involved than Sims, but it seems like the kind of game that you just play to see what the fuck happens to your guys.
Yeah, you just simulate
just
something.
Like real time storytelling. I was gonna make you and then see if I could clone you and kill you off several times.
That's how my Sims games have run forever. I put two of us in the same house, and then if those Sims ever run into each other, I go through great pains to exterminate them.
We got to make sure it accurately reflects real life.
Exactly. So it's like I'm running an experiment.
That's how we've been able to stay apart for so long. We've covered all the possibilities. All right, so Star Trek?
No, not yet. I have not had my fill of meaningless drivel.
Well, I mean, nothing's going on. What else is there?
So I was sending a text message. You can't see from beyond the corner there.
Oh my god, get off your phone.
Well, I sent it with a time delay, so you'll receive it in roughly 3 hours.
Okay.
Now, close your ears. I got to tell the audience this.
All right.
The contents of the message just say "made you look." All right, you can open your ears.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah, are your ears open?
Yeah.
Good.
I'm eagerly anticipating your message.
Yes. Now, I regret to inform the world, the audience, myself, that I've fallen off the train.
Did it hurt?
Oh God, yes. I broke several bones, but I'm back to drinking coffee.
So what was it, like a week?
No. It was actually closer to 3.
Oh well.
Yeah. And I still don't avail myself of sugary breakfast snacks, but I am drinking coffee again. And
well, that's good. I mean,
yeah,
the scones were probably not helping.
No. But now you can talk to me, which is nice. I mean, we've been in a perpetual state of not talking in those days where I have not had coffee.
Right. Your mug had never been filled, so it could never be emptied.
Exactly. And it puts a real strain on a relationship to not be able to communicate.
Yeah. To not be able to talkie.
Right. Now, I walkie, I talkie, I drinky my coffee. Okay, now I feel as though I'm ready for Trek. With that albatross off of my neck, that monkey off my back.
Is that an albatross?
Well, it's not an eagle, nor a birdie, or whatever.
A falcon.
A boogie.
A spook.
Now, we haven't reached our racism segment yet. I would appreciate you to not cross the streams. Which is a
You know what kind of bird I hate?
I can guess this.
It's not because of the bird itself, but because of the name of the bird.
A It's not a tit, is it?
No, it's not a tit. That's funny.
Okay. Blue-footed booby.
I'm not convinced that's real, but I could see it being. But no.
I believe it is real. Yeah, right in the Middle East.
Yeah. Got there before I did.
Anyway, what bird do you hate? Great conversation.
The egret.
Now, is this because of Adam Egret?
No. There's something about, and you can tell me if this is projection, which I'm sure it is. There's something about the name Egret that makes it sound like a side villain in a Paper Mario game that like everyone on like the IGN board for Super Paper Mario would love and like never stop posting about.
Okay. It's a very
Right?
specific feel, but I feel it.
Do you get it?
I do.
There's a certain type of autist that came into existence around the time of the GameCube. You know?
Yeah, I think about this somewhat frequently. The GameCube being such a outwardly friendly console in its visual design, and obviously with the cadre of Nintendo characters following behind it, is a
Topical word.
Yeah. A very easy purchase for a special child. And then somebody predisposed to it let into this world of identifiable things to latch onto is just a breeding ground for pathologies.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. And you know what, there's something too in particular about Fire Emblem at that time.
That's not where I would have gone. Fire Emblem, huh?
Where I know, surprising, but I can't see anyone who enjoyed Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance or Nintendo GameCube. I can't see them as human.
What do you see them as?
Less than human.
Well, that makes it easy to genocide them.
You know, it's just that particular like set of 5-6 years for that franchise. Just I don't know.
To me, Fire Emblem didn't really grow to, or Fire Emblem fans, I suppose, grow to intolerable levels until the DS and the 3DS, when it became...
Well, okay, so the issue there, though, is like, now we're approaching the time of the ironic weeb by that point, right?
Yeah, yes,
so they kind of overlap there.
Yeah, but that's a group that is also truly intolerable.
Yeah, totally, yeah. But what I'm saying is I think there's significant crossover there. Okay. So it's like, if like they're not Fire Emblem fans per se, they're fans of
anime art styles.
Anime people, yeah, like anime people kissing or whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. And then they're like, oh, I'm gonna pair up, ship these characters and make them have babies. Right.
You know, except for the dragon and girl who is for pedos, and I'm gonna post on Twitter about that every day about how evil that character is.
Yeah,
in just inherent design.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, when you're a centuries old immortal, to what extent is pedophilia relevant to you?
Well, yeah, they just don't understand.
Right. Much like parents.
Well, the parents definitely don't understand, especially when they catch me in their child's room.
You remember that song, that news interview that was made into a song? They're raping everybody out here.
Yeah.
That may or may not have been inspired by events local to me.
Wow, it's Tokyo, Japan, huh?
That news story was inspired by my life. Well and truly. I do often the song version of that pops up in my head very, very often. It's quite catchy.
I've thankfully forgotten it.
Oh, do you want to hear it?
No, I don't. No. That was a
lifetime ago.
That was like on the That was on the cusp though of like normal people coming onto the internet and kind of like ruining it.
Yeah, but it was still at a point where you could sing about the fact that they're raping everybody out here, and nobody would
Yeah,
mind.
that's true. That's true. I guess in that way it was a different time.
I have it stuck in my head again. Run until that. Oh boy. Oh
Well, the
boy,
audience
oh boy.
should play it for themselves right now while we sit in silence,
Yes.
and they can assume that it's stuck in our heads.
What is it? A 3-minute song? We'll wait. We'll give you 30 seconds to look it up, and then an additional 3 minutes for it to play out.
And then 5 minutes to take it all in. Think about it.
Absorb its message.
Uh,
So we got a question of the week, by virtue of it being one of the weeks of the year.
oh.
I'm excited for the episode that takes place outside of one of the society's stated years, so that we don't have to do the question of the week segment.
Yeah, I know. Coming.
Yeah. So this week's question of the week comes from James A. in Bel Air, California, who asks, "Dear Admirals," it says "dead admirals" here, but I think
It says, I was going to say, you wrote dead admirals here.
Oh, I didn't write this, but James did, and I think he made a typo. I assume it's Dear Admirals. How did you guys find the name Jeffries Tube? And for anybody who doesn't know, that's part of the ship on the Enterprise. There's Jeffries Tubes. It's a thought that lives in my mind day and night. Also, could a rotund man fit in such a tube? Perhaps to be cradled like a fetus, snug, warm, safe, and secure, floating and rotating as his own girth traps him in place, rendered immobile, like his fat could be rendered in a hot saucepan. Imagine if the tube turned at a 90-degree angle, then what would happen? Would our larger cohort be stuck again? Would anyone find him? Would anyone ever know? Or would they eventually chance upon a skeleton in a decrepit uniform bearing the communicator of a bit engineer, yet unnamed in the eyes of the bridge crew, who wouldn't dare traipse around with the locals? Would his spirit live on, or perhaps live yet as a vengeful ghoul, a specter of engineers caught in tubes too thin for their immense girth, that nevertheless they were shoved into in the name of routine maintenance? Are Jeffries tubes that labyrinthian? If I was stuck, would I truly never be found? Thanks for the question, James. That's actually pretty good. We get that a lot because the name of the Jeffries tube has an apocryphal story attached to it about some guy named Jeffries. But really, and I want to shed some light on the truth here, the tubes were named after Geoffrey the Giraffe of Toys R Us fame. You remember Toys R Us, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was way back in the day.
Right. That was back when Toys MI. Anyway, the tubes are long and thin, and so was Jeffrey's neck, because he was a giraffe. So, long neck, long tube, Jeffrey's tube. And now you know.
Yeah. Hopefully the ensigns understand that.
Right. I know that long and thin are both 4-letter words, but I hope it's okay if we talk about them here.
They're also 2 words most Star Trek fans are unfamiliar with.
Well, they're quite intimidating. I know that the mere mention of the word thin has the potential to trigger many a Trekkie.
And the word long probably sparks visions of their wife's bull.
Now, what do you mean by that? Like their wives own a large bull?
Yeah.
Now, I get owning a cow
You serious?
because you can monetize that and sell the milk. And the children.
No. What you're supposed to do, you get a bull. You get a bull. Okay.
Okay.
You
do I take it by the horns?
In much the same way you milk the cow,
Okay.
right? You milk the bull, right? Just from a different spot,
It's
and
horns?
then you sell that.
I was told I was
No.
supposed to take it by the horns. Is this a lie?
Both you and I know that's not where you took the bull.
Well, I mean, I took the bull behind the local Applebee's, but that's neither here nor there. What
What was I gonna say? Toys R Us really lost it, huh?
Yeah, they shit the bed. To think
Did you?
that they couldn't keep up with the demand for kids to have toys.
Had you like walked into a Toys R Us in the couple years before they started closing them all?
No, I did not. Did you?
Yeah, several times actually, and they were just overwhelmingly depressing.
Why is that?
They just don't make cool toys anymore.
What do they make? Just like thumbtacks and paper clips?
No, I mean I don't know. Like the toys are just dumb. The properties that they make the toys based off are dumb.
Do they come
There's
alive
no, like,
when you're not
cool
looking?
guns. No, they actually took that functionality out of them after the incident a couple years ago.
Ah, jeez. Do they still have like big rubber dinosaurs that flop around when you shake them?
No.
Well, then what the hell are they doing? Do they still have boppets?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they don't have boppets.
Bow pits, at least?
The thing is, all of the cool toys that like used to be for kids back in the day are now like upsold at like $30-$40 at like specialty stores for neckbeards, you know.
That's true.
So it's like as a kid, I would go to the store, spend $5 on like well, I guess it was probably less than that. You know, this was way back in the day. But
back when I was a
you know,
kid, you know, we were playing
you spend
with stone wheels.
You spend a few dollars on an action figure. Now it's like, okay, if your kid wants a cool like Star Wars guy, you're going to be spending $20 to $30 on one guy. So it's like,
Also, if you want a Lego set, you got to wrestle it out of the hands of some 40-year-old
yeah,
Reddit moderator.
Well, I mean, I guess those have always been expensive, but it's like now you're looking at ones that are like $500 a pop.
My favorite is the guy, and there's many guys who've followed this trajectory, but the guy who he buys an expensive Lego set, says to his wife, "Oh, this isn't for me. It's to build with our children when we have some." Haha.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Oh, we had a kid. I can finally build the Millennium Falcon." And
is this a guy you made up, or was
no,
this
this is a real
thread?
guy. It's a real guy. I've seen this guy at least 2 or 3 times. And
that's awesome.
It's just a confluence of being aware enough. Oh, I can't possibly say that this is something I want to do because I'm an adult, and adults shouldn't be spending all their time and money building Lego. But it's still, but I'm gonna embrace that anyway and just make an excuse of my firstborn child.
It's so pathetic. Imagine not being able to say to your wife, "Okay, I'm gonna do this," and you can't really say anything about it or do anything about it.
There was another similar example with Magic cards. There's an online shop that has an option. Select this option, and we'll put a note in your order that says you won these items in a raffle for free.
Wow.
So that you can
Oh
lie
my
to your
God.
spouse about spending money on cards.
That is insane. Insane. If I bought some Magic cards and my wife like got an attitude about it, slap her.
There's only 2 possibilities here. Either you're in a spot where you can afford it, in which case your wife doesn't have a leg to stand on, or you're in a
Right.
spot where you can't afford it, in which case you need to fucking wake up and not waste all your money on frivolities.
You've probably seen this particular thread because there's a very specific one about the Lego Millennium Falcon, about how the guy basically was like seeking his wife's permission to get it for like months, I guess.
Yeah.
And then finally she acquiesced, and he had this like long Reddit post about it. Can you just imagine? Can you imagine every day walking up to your wife, "Honey, please, it's the Millennium Falcon. Jeez.
I never even had that experience with my parents as a kid, like asking my mom for something all the time. But I imagine the post is like,
well, no, she would just show up and slide it under your door.
Heyo. But it's on our Lego. A thank you to my wife. There's 6 paragraphs.
Oh my god, yes. You know what? I hadn't really considered these like a genre of threads, but they are, and they're wonderful.
People that are just... I don't even know how to describe it. It's something I blame more on them than their wives. Of just allowing this to happen.
Well, in a relationship, it's almost never the woman's fault. And I mean that sincerely.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talk from feminists of, men that are children and just want to find somebody to be their mother. And then you look at things like this, and all you can think is, wow, you're completely right. This is
yeah.
This is an entire genre of guy.
And in the back of his head too, it's like he's embarrassed by it, and that's probably why he also wants the wife's permission too. It's like, oh, see, I'm not doing anything stupid. I'll tell you what, though, I really want that $800 Titanic.
Well,
you seen that thing?
Let me tell you, you're not allowed to buy it.
Can't say anything if you can't see it over here.
I'll use a mirror to check around the corner. If I see a scale model Lego of the Titanic, I'm gonna flip my shit and burn down the apartment.
like how a woman first looks at her own vagina.
This is not something I'm at all familiar. What? Is that something that happens?
Well, yeah, women can't see it like very well.
Right, but do they just take a mirror to it? On the rag?
Yeah, it's like a common thing. Yeah. Well, not on the... I don't know if it's on the rag, but it's like at some point, obviously, you'd be curious about it.
Well, have you done that with your own asshole?
Yes.
What?
What do you mean, what?
I mean, I've never investigated my own asshole.
I mean, yeah, like as a kid at some point, you're like, I wonder what my asshole looks like.
No. What? I've had more of a tactile exploration than anything else, but not a a mirror has never been involved.
Are you afraid that you'd become too scared of it to play around with it if you saw it?
Like I wouldn't be able to resist its temptation. The siren song. Just start getting mad you can't fuck your own ass. I wish my penis was longer so I could fuck my own ass. Hit my own.
Yeah, you just keep trying to shove it like flaccidly into your butt.
Nothing sounds worse than trying in vain to penetrate a tight asshole with a flagging penis. Because it's just awkward, and someone's like, "You just put it in." I can't. I have ED. Can't
well, I mean,
my penis in.
You say it like Knuckles too. I can't.
Then you and the group just start laughing because every homosexual on the planet is well versed in Sonic Adventure.
Well, no, the guy you're trying to fuck is like, actually, he says no way, and then you're like, no, he says it like this in Sonic Adventure 2.
Hold on, I feel like I've had this exact discussion. Maybe not mid-coitus, but this is
we've had this discussion before.
This is a true Mandela Effect moment.
Oh, speaking of the Mandela Effect, have we talked about Picard's crystal?
No. I'm sorry.
So, hold on. I have something for you here, I think.
Is it trivia? Is it trivial?
It's trivial. God damn it. Star Trek. Did Picard hold a crystal in over 70 episodes?
I'm sorry? Did Picard hold a crystal?
That's the question. Yes. Did Picard hold a crystal in over 70 episodes?
I mean,
Do you remember Jean-Luc Picard, the captain of the Starship Enterprise from the Next Generation, having a large crystal on his desk, which he often played with as if it was a set, as if it was acting as a set of worry beads. Worry beads, mind you, not anal beads.
nor rosary
This was apparently
beads.
in over. Yeah, this is apparently in over 70 episodes. Yet most people, including hardcore Star Trek fans, claim to have never noticed it.
I mean, obviously I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I also know you wouldn't be asking if it wasn't true.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about either.
Oh, what else is new?
But
All right, I'm gonna Google
like
TNG
Picard's crystal.
TNG Picard crystal. I need TNG because I don't want to confuse it with all the other Picards. Yeah, there's a whole article on it on Memory Alpha. And it's a picture. A crystal was a regularly ordered solid mineral. Fucking hate fans so much.
Breasts were
for the amusement of men exclusively. Right. Wait, hold on. This article just seems to be about crystals in general, and not Picard's crystal. Okay, there's some episodes mentioned here where this happened. Conspiracy, where silence has lease.
Okay.
Those are the ones that we've covered so far. William Riker also played with it on occasion. There's a scene in Gambit, Part 1.
Hey, hold on. I got a video here. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Tell me that this screenshot is from like a Mandela Effect compilation website.
It is. Yes, it is.
I don't think this is a Mandela Effect.
Could you tell by the 75.48% affected up top?
Jesus. A minor detail is suddenly the Mandela Effect. Did you know gaming
You can't tell me
is all the Mandela Effect?
You can't tell me you knew about the crystal. You didn't know about the crystal.
I'm not fronting. I didn't know about it.
Don't front.
I'm not fronting. Don't tell me I'm fronting. Oh well, you learn something new every day. This will be another entry in my in the Star Trek Iceberg I'm putting together.
You're gonna make a 3-hour YouTube video on it?
Yeah. I mean, 10-15 minutes will be about the iceberg, and the other 2 hours, 2.5 hours will be me napping.
You have to talk in like a really nasally, disgusting voice the entire time.
I could talk like the foot lettuce guy. Star Trek Iceberg. Top layer. Did you know that Picard had a crystal on his desk? He held the crystal in over 70 episodes.
Number 2. Riker's secret twin brother.
Secret. Bottom layer. Jonathan Frakes ate an onion bagel every day. He said that it heightened his sexual prowess. Do you know that guy is a rapper?
Well, I'm sure he raps.
Well, anybody can be a rapper these days.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to me because his rapping just sounds like that voice, like it's very clearly him. He doesn't take on a new affect.
That sounds fucking miserable.
Yeah. And of course he's one of those rappers that just purchases a beat from somewhere and,
Oh, totally, yeah.
talks over it.
Right. I've never gotten that about rap. It's like people are just so okay with just like not even making their own beats.
Right. What's the enjoyment of it?
Not only the enjoyment, but it's like, what am I getting out of this? Hearing the same fucking beat, copy and paste it across all these different songs.
Yeah, I mean it's hollow on several levels.
Yeah.
Oh well. Well. So I want to thank James for his question. It was a very good question. If you're like James, you want us to answer your question, send your question.
You want to be a good boy.
You want to be a good boy, then send us the email at thereadyroom@gmail.com to capital T to capital R's, and you can tweet at us at the Readier Room. We'll answer your question there too. So it's become customary for us to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
But this episode is no exception. We'll be back. And we're back. Welcome back. Me.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I welcomed myself back. You welcomed me back. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And welcome back to the ensign.
Yeah, we love the ensigns. The ensigns have been not spoken of for a little bit, but they're always there, like a young ghost boy in our walls. They're eternally present.
Thank God for that.
Thank God for that. The ensigns have left quite the legacy, not unlike this week's episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Mm-hmm. Which is called Legacy.
Right. It did not leave much of a legacy, but it is called Legacy.
It certainly didn't. Why is it called Legacy?
Who knows?
Your guess is as good as mine.
It asks the important question, what if Tasha Yar had a sister? Which I know was on all of our minds ever since she bit the bullet.
Well, I'm sad she died, but maybe they can get her sister on board.
The ways of bringing Yar, or the name Yar, back into the show grew increasingly more outlandish as the years went on.
Just, and yes, it does get to the point where it's absolutely insane.
Yes. God, I'm really looking forward to Romulan Tasha Yar.
Yeah. And it's always pathetic. I really love how in every one of these episodes too, there's like a character who is like, it's either Yar herself or another character who like is connected to her, and they're like, how did she die? And then like another character just has to say a goo monster just killed her because he wanted to, I guess.
I speaking of the Romulan Tasha Yar, I want to highlight one scene, which to me is the apex of ridiculousness in TNG.
You always want to talk about episodes that we're not talking about.
Funny thing that, and in this scene, Data, Picard, and Spock confront Romulan Tasha Yar, and the confrontation is ended when Data has a Vulcan nerve pinch. He does that to the Romulan Tasha Yar. Spock comes over, cocks an eyebrow, and says, "Not bad." And they all just kind of run away. And just, I don't know why, but this scene is just ridiculous.
I think the funniest thing about Romulan Tasha Yar is that Yar supposedly escaped a life of running from rape gangs every day, only to eventually just be raped.
Oh, it's a flat circle.
That was like her last thing. That was her legacy right there. She was always destined to be raped.
If you think it really recontextualizes yesterday's Enterprise.
It does, doesn't it?
where Tasha's like, I shouldn't be here. I must go through. I know something's waiting for me.
It certainly was, bitch.
She meets
bitch.
that one commander, captain, whatever, and they have this romance, and it's like, oh, we must be together. We'll go through the wormhole together.
Mm.
And it's like he gets murdered and she gets raped, and Guinan's like, you shouldn't be here, Tasha. You must go through.
You must be raped.
No, this is back when you could laugh about rape on television.
Yeah. It was funny back then.
Right.
I mean, it still is, but you have to pretend it's not.
In this episode, every time Riker says the phrase rape gangs and has a chuckle with it, you'd have to act those completely differently today. Now, where was I going with this?
Well, first we should talk about the episode Legacy. And how you felt about it.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it that much. It's not a very interesting story, and while I'm always on board for a focus on Data, this ostensibly becomes a Data episode. They didn't really do anything compelling with the character. Sometimes Sometimes Data's lack of emotion and flatness kind of serve to highlight his position. Like, where, for example, at the end of the Most Toys, the best episode, where Fajo kind of accuses Data of getting revenge and taking delight in it, as the audience would, and Data says, "Oh, I don't really feel delight about anything. I'm not happy about this revenge." And that kind of like creates a poignant moment, a disconnect between the emotional journey that the audience is set up on and Data's lack of feeling anything. And then in this episode, it's more portrayed as Data actually feeling heartbroken and betrayed and disappointed, which matches what the audience is feeling perfectly. And at that point, it doesn't play to any strength of Data's, because you could do that with any character.
Well, I somewhat disagree in that. Well, first of all, I think maybe the episode does kind of portray it like that in the way scenes are shot.
Okay.
In the dialogue, it's very explicitly making sure the audience knows that Data is not necessarily emotionally attached to people or situations. But also, I think TNG as a whole is a constant, very slow marathon for Data towards becoming more human. So the idea that he shouldn't wrestle with being betrayed for the first time, and whether that might invoke some kind of feeling, I think that's valid.
It's
That's a valid story to have.
It's valid, but the way it plays out, and perhaps intentionally, is an adolescent getting his first heartbreak. Like, he goes to Dad, he goes to Riker, and he says,
"Well, it should be. It should be that way." And I'm not going to disagree that like there were quite a few points where things should have been done better, but it should be like that. I mean, he's an emotional retard.
Of course. I guess I don't take umbrage with the fact that he has to grapple with a new sensation, so much as it's not uniquely from the perspective of an android. Because again, you could just write it from somebody who's inexperienced, but does feel emotion, and it would play out exactly the same way.
I think part of the issue, though, is that we're reaching the point, we're in season 4, where, these characters kind of have inherent value just by virtue of us having watched them for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from the perspective of an audience, it's interesting just kind of inherently to see Data deal with new situations, because we like Data.
We do like Data.
We want to see him grow and do new things and stuff, and I think it's totally fine. Honestly, I don't really have an issue with the idea of the conflict in this episode. I do have an issue with how it was done, but I think that the idea is fine.
The thing, though, is that going back to the Most Toys as a positive example, that's another one that did show growth on the part of Data. He attempts to murder somebody when otherwise
Yeah, sure.
he would never have done that. And that it shows growth without emotion in a way that is unique to the character. This shows growth ostensibly with emotion. The dialogue says that he's emotionless, but everything in the way that he acts and describes what he's feeling is essentially an emotion. And again, it's more of a coming of age story than anything else, but not really that of an android's coming of age story.
Not necessarily. I mean, but the thing is now, like, you're kind of arbitrarily assigning the definition of emotion to.
Am I?
I mean, yeah, kind of. There is ultimately a fine line between feeling something and reacting to something. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like.
Well,
he's not sitting there like stewing about what's her name.
I mean, he kind of
is.
In the last scene, he says.
Well,
he says to Riker, "It's been."
Well, he did that with Yar too.
Did he?
I mean, there's precedent for it. He did that with Yar too. Yeah, he did.
Is that ever shown? It's more implied.
Pretty sure.
I don't know if that ever really happened, but in any case,
well, he does it with someone else anyway.
To me, then, if that's the case, then there's just no growth in the episode at that point.
Yes,
because it's something that's happened before.
I agree with that.
In which case,
well, it's not necessarily that. No, because this isn't something that's happened before. Because again, it's a new situation where Data has to come to terms with being betrayed by someone and learning how to kind of navigate any potential, betrayals in the future, that kind of thing.
Perhaps my reasoning so far has been on the side of arbitrary, but I do think that between this and The Most Toys, which are both episodes that deal with Data growing as a character and processing something akin to a human emotion, that episode was a lot more effective, and this one didn't really resonate with me. And I want to know why.
Sure. And I think the theme here, the theme of betrayal and how it relates to Data is it's really ripe for like just delving into and doing something fun with it and something interesting with it. It just didn't really quite happen here the way it should have. And I think that's the issue. But I think we're going to both hate this episode by the time we're done.
Oh, I hated it by the time we started.
I didn't hate it.
No, I know. Hate's a strong word. But yeah, I do think
there were certain parts of it I enjoyed.
This is one of the worst episodes that we've seen in a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I was never like not interested in it, so that's a plus. But it's predictable. Again, you're right. It's not very interesting. The stakes are terribly high.
Did you gasp in shock when Ishara is having that call with the guy and she said, it's working.
Yeah, right.
It's working.
And as we walk through the episode, which I guess we might as well start doing in a second here, we're going to see exactly why that scene was so predictable and stupid, I think. So this episode opens on a poker game.
Right.
And
I think this is the clearest example of character development on the part of Data, because now Data is illegally string betting the same way Riker does. So he's picked up he's picked up the commander's habits.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I did want to note is that Riker is playing honest poker here. Where he asked Data exactly what kind of hand he has,
which is a valid strategy. I think
yes,
that must be acknowledged.
I know you love your honest poker.
I do.
So,
well, the concept.
I thought you probably liked that scene.
The concept of a range is very important in poker. That you need to be constantly expanding your range, because if you make the same actions in the same situations every time, you become predictable. So Riker, by embracing honest poker, is expanding his range from before, where he did not use that strategy.
Well, I'm myself hoping to see Data employ the honest poker strategy sometime soon. I guess we'll see. But then Riker decides to throw in all of his winnings based on whether or not he can successfully perform a card trick for Data.
All right, now let's delve into how stupid this is. Immediately, what jumps out to me is that Data has Riker covered. When if Riker, he just lost a big hand to Data, so Data ostensibly has more money, more chips.
Yes.
So whatever Riker bets, Data has that plus more. So Data's not, he doesn't have to push in all of his stack. It's stupid. It's like, what do you? It's like
that really got you, huh?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I got $20 in my pocket. I have $500 in mine. All right, let's put them all in. It's like, what?
It is completely illogical.
Right. Now, Data's no Vulcan, to be sure.
But he is an android.
Right, and I like to think he would have been able to count.
You would think so. I mean, he will in the next 2 minutes very logically explain the trick for us. But I did want to note that Frakes was the one who kind of brought this card bit to life. He's the one who suggested it.
One of his
even
many
happening in the
talents.
episode. Yeah, one of his many. He'd this was something he was into for a while. I mean, I think around season 2. But around this time, he really rekindled his love of classic sleight of hand. Because I guess recently at the time he'd managed one night to pick a woman up at the bar with his infamous, you remember this, $500 behind the ear trick.
When he did it with me, it was just a quarter.
Yeah, well, you know.
I'm not one of the women, I know, but still.
You weren't selling what he was looking for.
No, but, you know, with today's technology, we can rectify
that. From a certain point of view. Need I fill our chat log with neo-vaginas?
Oh, now I'm not that big of a Matrix fan, but I'll let you go off.
You let me get off. But yeah, in terms of the scene, I think one of the best things about it is that you can visibly see near the end the sheer exhaustion on Marina's face, because I think it took over 24 takes for Frakes to get this trick right.
Yeah. I don't know. Perhaps because the scene, the stage, the set was better lit than your average bar where he normally did the trick. It threw him off. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it did take some doing. You know, we were there for a while.
Yeah. I mean, or, you know, maybe because Brent just wasn't lying to him.
Most of the women did humor Jonathan Frakes. Like, oh, it's Jonathan Frakes from that sci-fi show
It's
love.
the Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah. I watch that show every day, every week. But Brent was not having it. Now, insofar as structurally, I'm not sure what this scene is supposed to foreshadow. Perhaps the fact that Riker's not as trustworthy as he would like to appear. I mean, you never know. But it certainly was a scene.
And usually these opening scenes are supposed to wrap around back to the core theme of the show.
Now, in this case, it's like, okay, Data was betrayed, quote unquote, but he saw through it immediately, so, okay. Is this like reverse growth, where Data can see through betrayal at the beginning, but not at the end? Shrinkage, if you will.
Well, he can see through playful betrayal.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Now, does his vision, his android vision, allow him to see through Marina's uniform?
That's actually been the subject of hot debate, and I mean hot in terms of like sexual,
right?
On the forums for the past 20-30 years. Sexual
debate as in the House of Lords.
What is that, like the British Diet?
No, that's a recording artist.
Ah.
I think, wasn't Lord married to Elon Musk?
Elon Musk? What?
He was married to a recording artist. A British recording artist.
Who was?
Ellen.
Huh?
The Tesla guy. I mean, not Nikolai, but the other Tesla guy.
Oh, there was Grimes.
Oh, grimy. That's right. Whatever.
Lord is great. She looks like fucking Palpatine.
Well, now I gotta look this up. Is Lord spelled with an E?
With an E, yeah.
You know who's my favorite old woman?
No, who is it?
Winona Ryder.
Yeah, okay, tell me about it.
There's not much to say. I just, I think Winona
There's
Ryder's
a joke
cute
in
old
her
woman.
name somewhere.
I hardly know her. I mean, sure.
Winona Ryder. We know a Ryder.
Lord looks like a slightly better put together version of that homely Game of Thrones actress.
The one that looks like Quasimodo?
Yes.
Yeah, I forget her name.
Is that
The little kid, though.
is that what she plays in Game of Thrones? A Quasimodo?
A Quasimodo. Yeah. She frequently teams up with the Dracula.
Is that what that show's about? That sounds awesome.
I used to go to the gym with a guy who went out with one of those Zoomer, like, Bananis and Avocados singer girls who's on the radio. I forget who it was, though.
Wait, Milli Vanilli?
No. They all sing, like, with that faux British affect.
I have no idea. Like Amy Winehouse?
No. I don't even know what an example would be.
Are you
But
sure?
it's like they all sing like this.
Are you just listening to British pop stars?
No, I'm not. Well, some of them are, but you really don't know what I'm talking about? We'll discuss this off mic.
Here's another possibility. You're insane.
No, I'm not. You can ask any of our circle. Well, not any of them. Any in our circle who knows music, and they'll back me up on this. It's a well-known phenomenon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like marble-mouthed female pop stars sounding like they're British?
Yeah. They all sing. They all sing like
Is this a Billie
like that.
Eilish thing?
Sort of, but she's not quite at that.
William Eilish?
Billie Irish, just pronounced by a Japanese man.
I think they just call her Billie. That's what I've found. Anyone who refers to Billie Eilish just says Billie.
They just call her Billie?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Well, I mean, how many
Because they could be talking about Bronco Billy.
or the goats,
Or the goats of Elvis.
right? Anyway. We need to talk about this card trick. Yeah, it's kind of Data
because-
explains it.
Data explains it, but here's the thing. He gets to choose between 3 cards. If he knew what was going on, he could have just picked the one that wasn't the right one.
Well, I don't think Data was concerned with him exposing the trick is in essence him winning the bet, I believe.
I suppose.
Because it's, again, Frakes' betrayal has come to light. The liar revealed.
It's stupid. It's stupid to even present it that way, though, if you're going to give him the choice between the cards. Just have Data pick a card. Frakes is like, or Riker's like, pick a card, and Data has to just... Or no, Frakes just flashes like, is this your card, or whatever. Like, it needs to be like a single... You don't get a choice at the end.
Yes. Because
it just confuses it.
Even without Data, a final choice, leaves it open to failing.
Right. So it's a dumb trick.
The whole point
it's
of
a trick
tricks
that fails a third of the time.
Yeah, is to force people.
or 2/3 of the time, rather. It only works 1/3 of the time.
Well, we have evidence of that by how many takes it took.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a dumb trick, much like spinning. And there's better card tricks out there that you could show.
Much better trick. But yeah, so they get called to the bridge. I guess the Enterprise was initially en route to and this threw me off. Camus 2, not pronounced Camus 2. It's Camus 2.
This threw you
which
off?
I guess is it's a reference to, I think, the final episode of the original series where they also went to Camus 2.
Is that true?
Yeah, and instead they have like an emergency signal that is making them go to the Turkana system, which I can only assume is famous for the Armenian genocide. And they go and visit Turkana 4, which just so happens to be Yar's rape gang planets. One thing I wanted to discuss is we hear about the USS Potemkin a lot, don't we?
We do.
Why does it do so much?
I think that's the ship from Watership Down.
That was the movie about the animals that all die or whatever, right?
Oh wait, I think you're right. I'm thinking of a war film of some sort.
No, I'm sure it was in a war film. But I mean, in canon, what is this ship?
It's not the flagship of the Federation.
Certainly isn't.
I have that on good authority. But yeah,
Potemkin, the USS Potemkin. It was a Constitution class, so it was the same model. Hold on.
I'm holding.
We're gonna sit here until we figure this out.
We got our top man on the job. I'm just gonna sit here until you figure it out.
The Potemkin. Oh, I guess the Potemkin was in the original series.
Bridge Over Troubled Water? Is that a war movie?
Oh, it's a song.
Oh, is that Paul Simon? Maybe Simon and
Simon Paul.
Hold on. Bridge Over... I think it's Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, you might be right about that.
Alright, hold on. When you're weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I'll dry them all. I'm on your side when times get tough and friends just can't be found. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. Now, I've done renditions of this song that say, I will lay you down in very, very intimate moments.
I will lay me down. Isn't that just like talking about killing yourself?
I will lay me down to sleep. I will pray the Lord my soul to keep.
I will dick me down. I will dick me down.
Is that the melody of that song? I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah. Oh, you never heard it?
No.
And you know all the lyrics?
Oh no, I was reading them.
Well, no, I knew you were reading them, but I figured, like, by virtue of having read them, you were trying to make a point about them.
No, I just...
Yeah, you were just reading them for the first time?
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
Now, I imagine by virtue of it being Simon and Garfunkel, it's quite the layered harmony going on in this song. Which has always been their strength. I watched a video of Paul Simon playing with George Harrison, and the former sang an impromptu harmony to the latter, and it was quite good. Talented guy. He's as talented as he is short. Paul Simon.
I've never seen him on video.
There's
in pictures.
There's a good music video where he appears alongside Chevy Chase, who's quite a tall man.
Yeah.
And there's a big gap between the two.
A gap.
Quite like a thigh gap, but for height.
We love thigh gaps.
We do. And remember, if you don't have one, you should feel bad about yourself.
You should kill yourself or go on a fucking diet. And then it's time to work on your bikini bridge.
Either go on a die or on a diet. Your choice. Oh!
Roll the die.
Star Trek Picard Season 3 Comic-Con teaser just dropped live during recording.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Should we watch it?
No.
Come on, let's give it a live watch. Seriously, it actually dropped?
Yeah, it's linked in our production Discord.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's so old. Jesus Christ.
You are watching it.
You said you were going to watch it.
Okay, yeah, I'm watching it right now. It's only a minute long.
Yeah. Why is 7 of 9 here?
I know, right?
Something that does actually annoy me is how the uniform design did revert to... Like, it's gone steps backwards.
Yeah, what the hell?
Man, this is just depressing. Everyone's fucking old.
Michael Dorn forgot how to do the Worf voice.
Did he say censor? Gates looks good under all that makeup.
Yeah.
Oh, once again, Will Wheaton gets shafted.
I'm sure he'll show up in like one episode.
I really hope that this is a Planet of the Week series. There's just no overarching story.
That would be amazing. Just a bunch of geriatrics going to different planets.
Yeah, it's just old TNG scripts.
That would be perfect. No Brent, huh?
Well, Data's canonically dead. Although I think his name did show up in that one announcement.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna show up at some point.
Oh,
they're gonna be like, oh, we found
Data's
a
other brother.
Extra, yeah, right.
Data, Lore, and Leda.
No, that's their fusion. That's Data and Lore's fusion.
Did they ever do the fusion dance, or is this just someone took off Lore's arm and put it on Data?
It's just a popular fan fiction character.
I see. Leda, not Dor.
Leda. All right, so let's get back to Legacy.
Are you ready to tackle the second scene of the episode?
They get a distress call from two Federation guys who are being held on Turkana 4. So an away team goes to the transporter room. We have a little scene here where Crusher is trying to go down, and Worf, he's like, you should stay here. It's probably not safe. And he says, Lieutenant Yaw spoke of rape gangs, right? And
Crusher says,
Crusher
I'll
responds,
be fine.
Yeah, she's like, I can handle myself, which has been demonstrably not true in situations of like terrorism on a planet.
Yeah, she was kidnapped by terrorists in one episode and had to be rescued.
Yes, yeah, she was like a princess,
and she didn't even get raped. At least not on camera.
No, yeah, we don't know that, but she goes down, I guess. We get a beautiful Matt, one of Matt's beautiful paintings.
He outdid himself, as he always does. Really quick, when they say that they're going to the planet, what was the name of it? Turkana 4?
Turkana 4, yeah.
Did that register with anybody? Like, that's Yar's planet.
Definitely.
You think so?
But not any normal people, no.
Right. Just some guy who
there was some guy who like chair. He would watch every episode every week with like a notebook and then like just pour over it. He would do like Harvard style notes where he'd like summarize them in the margins so he could commit them to memory. Nice
Harvard style notes reference.
Yeah, I did go to Harvard, so
yeah.
Gotta make sure everyone knows that.
I've only ever harbored an immense antipathy towards you. Harvard boy. So
we get a cool. So the thing about Turkana 4 is that the surface has been destroyed by war, so they all live underground.
right, it's the Logan's Run planet.
What was he running from?
Logan.
Is it? Does the run belong to Logan, or was it many Logans running?
It's more of a track for Logan to run in whenever he likes.
Damn, this Logan can run.
Like a chicken run.
Like the movie? Chicken Run?
No, like the track for chickens to run in whenever they like.
Ah.
Now, Chicken Run was an Australian production.
Was it?
Yeah, that's why Mel
That was
Gibson's
British.
in it. No. Mel Gibson's in
No,
it.
you're bullshitting me.
You can't bullshit a bullshitter. It's what they say.
I refuse to believe that was Australian.
Yeah, well, take that to the grave.
It was the Wallace and Gromit guy, wasn't it?
I mean, yes, but I believe it was an Australian production.
Okay. I guess I'll believe you, because I can't imagine what you would get out of lying about this. But then again, you never really need to get anything.
No, I just, I derive pleasure from the act itself.
Alright, anyway, they live underground. Because of this, we are treated to actually redresses of the Borg ship.
Yes.
For the underground section. And one thing I did notice that was interesting about this episode, and this also comes up in 10 Forward later, the camera's a lot more dynamic than usual.
Yeah, I also
Probably-
thought the lighting was more involved.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I think a lot of this is probably to give some kind of depth to that underground area. Because that's where it's usually more dynamic. But I thought it was interesting because you don't usually see it like that.
A more visually interesting episode, and there's also thought put into the visual look of the inhabitants of the planet. They have these glowing implants inside of them.
Yeah. So they can detect when their enemies have like crossed a certain point or something.
And that's where I got the Logan's Run inspiration.
Ah.
Because I know you're not familiar with Logan's Run, but they have these glowing things inside of them that I believe mark when they're set to be executed. Because they've reached a certain age. And that is what...
They've run too far?
That's what Logan's running from.
Ah.
Now, recently I read the plot summary of THX 180, whatever the number is.
Oh, yeah. Don't spoil it for me, though.
You gonna watch it?
Yeah, at some point.
Alright, well, I don't quite know where to go from here then. I'll just stop talking about it.
There was a Wookiee, though.
There was a Wookiee. Up yours, Wookiee moralists.
Alright, now say it with his affect.
I can't do a Pearson.
Up yours, Wookiee moralists.
Up yours, Wookiee moralists.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I mean, as long as you make the effort to sound like a squeaky Muppet, it usually comes off correctly.
I don't want this to devolve into the Jordan Peterson impression power hour.
All right, so we get a very, in my opinion, bizarre scene where our guys run into a group called the Coalition.
Yes.
And they bring them back to like their little hidey room, and the Coalition is explaining that they control basically half the planet, and a group called the Alliance controls half the planet. Just real quick as an aside, I find it hilarious that the Alliance are apparently the bad guys,
and not the Coalition.
Right. I don't know if that was trying to make a statement or something, but
well, to me, it's you see, well, both sides, they're actually the same, but they're fighting.
Right? Yeah, sure. That's probably as far as it went.
Isn't all fighting just ambiguous at its heart? Aren't all distinctions just arbitrary?
Heroes on both sides,
or villains on both sides.
Truly.
And I don't mean to both sides the conflict of Turkana 4.
the coalition has, I guess, stolen a box of alcohol.
Yes, which is just, very high level warfare.
Right. Yeah, that's all they stole. That's all they got was a box of alcohol.
It's a planetary-wide game of capture the flag.
And Riker is immediately hostile to them and tries to like steal their alcohol from them.
Right. But they give it to him anyway.
Yeah. But it's like, and then they're like, the coalition guys. It's like, oh, we're trying to keep the peace, and Riker's like, everything we've seen would indicate otherwise, and it's like they've been on the planet for 5 minutes.
Riker also is very quick to violate the new Prime Directive, in that I'm just gonna disrupt this planet's society. You can't steal their alcohol. You can't be fighting. I've been grappling with the new Prime Directive very often in my Voyager escapades. And
so what's the new Prime Directive?
The new Prime Directive has nothing to do with First Contact and basically says never interfere in anything that takes place on a planet.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
And they play fast and they play loose with this.
I'm sure they do because, if they did adhere to it to the degree that they probably should, quote, should, it would just end up with the crew of whatever ship beaming down to a planet and standing around on the sidelines watching things happen.
I would watch a show of just observers. You remember in Who Watches the Watchers, there's that outpost?
Yeah.
Just a sitcom set in one of those. I'd watch that.
Well, see, that has potential, but you realize why that's a lot different.
Yes, I do. But anyway, what really stuck out to me was when Riker accepts the alcohol that's a present for Picard.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't even say thank you.
Right, but to me, he doesn't even attempt to not take it. He's like, oh, yeah,
sure.
I guess we drink tonight, boys.
Yeah, right. And then we immediately cut to Picard sniffing it on the bridge.
Yeah, we usually cut to him sniffing Crusher, but not this time.
or playing with a crystal.
Right. The source of his sexual prowess, that crystal.
Yeah. And if you notice over the series, his fingers grow slightly longer every season.
Oh god.
So we get a transmission from because so the whole conflict at this moment is that the Riker petitioned for the Coalition's help to get their guys back from the Alliance. The Coalition wants weapons from the Enterprise, and Riker's like, "We're not going to supply you weapons." But then he's like, I guess we'll go back and think about it. So they go. This is when they're back and thinking about it. Then they get a transmission from the Coalition guy. His name is Hain, the Coalition guy.
Oddly,
like the underwear.
Oddly, plain name, plain Hain.
Yeah.
Plain name Hain.
Plain Hain. Hey. Well. Yeah. So we get a transmission from Hain. He's got this woman standing next to him. Her name's Ishara, and he's like, okay, this is Tasha's. This is Yar's sister, and she is remotely more attractive than Denise Crosby.
Right.
I believe that's what the casting called for. Women slightly more attractive.
Later
Denise
on,
Crosby.
we would go on to cast everyone related remotely to Tasha Yar as Denise, but we didn't start that practice just yet.
Yeah, we made up for it in other ways, though.
Oh yes.
Tried to compensate for it.
Oh yes. We wanted her to not. She is more attractive, but we didn't want her to look attractive. Yeah. So you'll note the haircut, just extremely ugly. A lot of the costuming, extremely unappealing. There's like this strange blue onesie that surfaces later. And the whole goal was to be reminiscent of, Yar's general unattractiveness.
Sure, yeah. Those costumes were sold at auction.
Oh, yeah?
And
what do they make? Negative money?
You know what kind of person probably bought them.
Well, there's two kinds of people. There's somebody who either affixes it to a mannequin and sniffs it on occasion, or somebody who wears it while jerking off, and there's no in between.
wears it while looking at a mirror, and just feels the euphoria sweep over them.
Oh my god, I feel so euphoric when I tuck in my Ishara Yar costume. Does anyone else?
God.
Does anyone else feel euphoric when you tuck inside of your Ishara Yar cosplay?
The word "tuck" really goes a long way.
Oh, it's pulling heavy duty in that sentence.
Because the rest of it elicits, a tasteful chuckle. The tucking is just over the edge.
You ever see the show Nip Tuck?
I've heard of it.
Do you know what it's about?
A Japanese man who tucks.
Yes! I was gonna say Japanese transsexuals.
Not bad. Yeah. There you go.
Oh boy.
Fucking hell. Was that show overtly sexual?
I think it was sexual. I think it was sexual in the sense that it's like, oh, here are these playboy rich doctors and they're flirting with their nurses and clients and whatever. But aside from that, I don't think it was the subject matter wasn't that sexual. It was basic.
Yeah, I always thought
surgery.
the title referred to nip as in nipples and then tuck as in like tucking.
No, it's nip tuck is a straight up phrase used in the plastic surgery community. Like, I'm gonna go in for a nip and a tuck. Which to me is reminiscent of things that are euphemisms for sleeping.
Go on, I mean, nip tuck.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
You get your stocking cap on, have a nip and a tuck.
A nip and a tuck. Well, yeah. A nip is like a shot of whiskey, and a tuck is you go to sleep.
Yeah. Puts me down for a nip and a tuck.
I will lay me down.
Oh.
We have an instance here. Oh no.
Anyway, we have an instance.
We have an instance here of Troy doing her job.
And then being ignored summarily.
And then everyone ignores it for the next half an hour. And here is my first real gripe with this episode. The second Ishara comes on board, it's like no one ever had any doubt about her.
I mean, they try to hide this away. Well, we all wanted to see something of Yar in her. Except for Troy,
Right.
who says she's trying to deceive us.
Right. Explicitly. 2 or 3 times. Jumping ahead just for a brief moment, there's a point, I think, the coming back from commercial in like Act 5, where Picard is like, he talks about Ishara, and he's like, she's virtually become a member of the crew.
Which is weird because they're in a physical space, not like VR or anything.
Well, it's weird because of that, yes. It's literally just the plot of the show demanded Picard say this.
Right.
And it's the same thing with all the crew implicitly trusting this woman. It doesn't make sense. They've had people aboard for entire episodes that they've hated and turned out to be great people. They're, as far as I see it, the crew is almost always just distrustful of everyone when they come on board.
And what's I could see this happening contingent on Ishara acting like Tasha, and she would have to be like her spitting image, doing all the same things. A scene of her and Worf kind of having a sport together. It's like, Lieutenant Yar also I don't know what game they played. Swung her racquetball racket just like that. It's like, whatever. But
what game they played Doctor? Yeah, no, but you're totally right. Yeah, there needed to be scenes like that, or even just one scene where, I don't know, they have like dinner together or some shit.
Right. Instead, it's all very spoken. Just, you remind me of Tasha. You remind me of Tasha.
It's so stupid.
It is.
So Data, she beams aboard the Enterprise. Data's tasked with bringing her to the observation deck or whatever. And he talks to her. He says, he says, Tasha and I spent much time together, which is putting it mildly. They had hot robot sex
with that very ugly oil slicked strand of hair glued to Tasha's forehead.
Oh God!
What?
I forgot about
what was
that.
anybody thinking about that? That's the image in my nightmares that I wake up screaming about. Like,
Ishara says, "I don't even remember what she looked like," in reference to Yar, which I think everyone would consider lucky for that.
Yeah, it really clashed with the planet's depiction as a dystopia when some of the members could have such a charmed life.
Right. So they get the Enterprise crew gets a message from one of the hostages. Finally,
I don't even know what it says.
And,
what did he say?
So basically, it was just like, we're being held here. He says, curiously, I might add, he says the Enterprise crew has 20 hours to make reparations. Which I found odd because the Alliance consists mostly of white people, right?
Right.
And it turns out, it really was just a little way for the writers to kind of just show these guys are, they're bad news, right? Because they're so okay with appropriating black excellence.
Well, I think one of the captured hostages was a person of color, a people of color.
He was a POC.
Right.
He was a POC.
So it's straight up allegorical. They're stealing his reparations.
Yeah.
Now, it does occur to me that Ishara betrays the Enterprise by giving them exactly what they want. Or she said, "Okay, here's your men. Go back to the ship. Goodbye." And not quite the insidious betrayal we've seen in other episodes.
Not really. No. Although we'll get to that later. But yeah, it's kind of a wet fart. They go down to the planet twice, right? And the first time they go down, I guess it's a failure or something. Or no, they need to get like coordinates or something. I don't remember. Do you remember why they go down for the first time?
Something about a map?
Yeah, I think that's it, because they needed to find out like where they were being held.
Right.
Or something. So they needed Geordi to do that.
And this becomes a dangerous, less than smoothly executed endeavor.
Yeah. Ishara gets shot, and Riker, saves her, and they all beam back up to the Enterprise. Curiously, something that really, really caught my attention is that Riker says she's only got a couple of cracked ribs. She was shot by a phaser, just flopped on the floor.
Well, the phasers pack quite a punch.
Do they?
Yeah, if you ever slow down frame by frame, you'll see a little animated fist at the end of the phaser beam.
just a little fella popping out with a 1-2.
Right, but if it's set to kill, then it's quite different.
Then he has a knife.
Yeah. And one of the phasers in this episode is set to kill.
It is set to kill, but do phasers really have that much kinetic energy?
Well, they can bore through things, as we later see.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose so.
You ever see that episode in Star Wars where the two Jedis have to cut through a big metal door with their lightsabers?
Mm-hmm. And then they very quickly run away.
Yeah, it's it's the same principle.
I see. I didn't know the technology was so analogous.
Oh, of course. One takes direct inspiration from the other.
Yeah, it is a shame how much Star Trek stole from Star Wars, huh?
They stole the concept of space.
Yeah.
Now, Star Trek's
spaceships.
Big innovation was setting its story in the future and not a long past ago.
Also, no interesting aliens.
Right. Now, was Star Wars canonically set in the Delta Quadrant?
Is that where Star Trek is?
No, Star Trek's in the Alpha Quadrant. Well, it depends on which Star Trek. The Delta Quadrant is where Voyager takes place, and the Gamma Quadrant is where the wormhole in Deep Space Nine deposits people into. But Star Trek proper is in the Alpha Quadrant, which accounts.
What's in the Gamma Quadrant?
The Dominion.
Oh.
And the Shapeshifters, Odo's people.
Gotcha.
Now, there's still one that leaves one quadrant unaccounted for. Perhaps that is where Star Wars takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, these are all quadrants of one galaxy, but Star Wars is in a galaxy, quote, far, far away. So,
well,
it might just be an entirely different galaxy.
We do have to remember that one comic where Indiana Jones found the corpse of Han Solo on Earth.
Is that real?
That's real.
Did they look exactly like one another?
Well, one of them was a corpse.
But did it look like him? Did he look at it and say, "This is a man's corpse"?
I don't know. I haven't actually read it, but that did happen. That is a comic.
That's fucking terrible.
It's stupid.
Well, by the looks of it, this was an old-timey intergalactic smuggler killed by a rolling ball trap. I hate fiction. What do I hate? What do I hate here?
What do you mean? What do you hate?
Well, I mean, this is terrible, right? We can agree this is terrible. But what is the
stupid?
What is the blame? Is it fiction?
Well, it's pure fan service. It's like fan service for the sake of fan service.
Yeah, like what if Batman fought Superman?
Yeah, or like what if Picard talked to Professor X in the holodeck?
Right. What if all my favorite guys celebrated my birthday?
You know what that means.
Bring it in.
Oh man, Game Master Anthony.
What is your version of Game Master Anthony's birthday party? What fictional characters would show up for you?
Probably like, I mean, obviously you got to have like Sonic guys and like, just probably all the old like Sega Nintendo guys.
Mine would just be the Count of Monte Cristo and the Trix Rabbit.
Would it be the anime Count of Monte Cristo?
That's a good question. I believe so. Him and his collage looking stylings.
Count of Monte Cristo, the Trix Rabbit. I fucking hate you.
So, some ribs are broken.
Yeah, it actually hit me just now. The idea that doctors in the future are actually useful,
and it's not just bio beds.
Like, well, maybe it is. Maybe it is like just more to do with the technology. But it's like Crusher's actually like nice and cares about her patients, as opposed to most doctors.
Now, the holographic emergency medical doctor is known for its subpar bedside manner.
It's his ornery bedside manner.
Yes, there's quite a lot of time spent with the doctor learns to give a good bedside manner and be approachable for his patients. And
I guess that's all you can do with a doctor story. In
one episode, he programs his hologram to contract a holographic disease to step into the shoes of his patients.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of dumb. That's
this show sounds so shitty.
Now, this might surprise you to learn, but that's the B story of the episode.
Oh, thank God.
I think
so. It's the other story, like an ant story.
I wasn't ready.
Bug's Life.
The A plot is probably what if Chakotay met a space Indian? Polish off that gem for the 5th time.
What if Jerry got an iPad?
Oh God.
So Ishara, we cut to Ishara on the main deck, and she's wearing a a very sexy little piece.
That's the blue onesie.
I know you hate it, but there's something about that jumpsuit that just made me want to.
Is it the fact that it looks like it's knit, so it just absorbs all of her sweat?
Yeah. I want to like wring it out
into a martini glass.
Yeah. Worf's kind of like eyeing her up too in the background.
Well, Klingon instinct and all that.
See, I want to see some Worf Ishara fan fiction.
You'll be happy to know that when Worf inevitably gets with Dax, that they maintain the lore on how violent Klingon sex is.
Really?
Yeah, they show up several times in the doctor's office, and like, oh, I need you to repair my broken rib, my dislocated shoulder, and there's cuts all over both of them. And Bashir's like,
no way.
And Bashir's like, you guys gotta stop with this. And it's funny because Bashir at the beginning of the series always wanted to get with Dax, so it's kind of like a medical
it's
cucking.
a cuckolding.
Yes, exactly. They just come in with their battle scars of their sexual encounters.
This isn't real.
No, this is real. You can look up the episode where Dax and Worf first get together, and I believe the setting is like a Hollow Suite battle simulation, or maybe
of course.
Maybe they're just going at it with what are the name of the bathlets? Bathlets?
Isn't Dax like trans or something?
Dax is many things. Dax is a symbiote that bonds with a human that is at times male and at times female.
Okay, so Dax is trans.
Dax is trans, and Dax definitely says trans rights. Because if I was a transgendered person, the representation I want to see is a black slug embedded in the body of different people.
That's what they wish they could do.
Yeah. Just let me body snatch the girl I went to high school with.
Right. If I could be a body snatcher, I would, though. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah, I would. I know Kojima would.
Yeah.
It's rife with potential. The snatching of bodies.
Before we move on, we haven't really talked too much about this rape gang business, which we should have talked about earlier, because there don't seem to be any rape gangs around at all.
No, I don't know if this was the result of editing or what, because I know the producers were pushing for the rape gangs, which led to some resentment from the cast. But this was something that was core to the... a common complaint of Star Trek is that they go to a bunch of, quote, worlds of hats. Like, in this world, everyone wears a cowboy hat. And in this world, everyone wears a fedora. And the hat for Takara 4 was...
It's rape.
Right. And for the writers to take out such a core aspect of the planet, of its culture, to erase its culture, is on Trek in a lot of ways.
Yeah. It's very illiberal.
Right.
But most importantly to me, I think, this just makes it seem like Yar's entire sob story about her past was just like a big lie.
Oh, they're never going to go to this fucking planet. There's rape gangs.
And then they go there, and Riker's like, where are the rape gangs? And then Hayne is just like, what?
Worf says, I guess they got over it.
Like, what, rape gangs? What are you talking about?
Riker, what is it you think we do here? I thought you just raped each other all the time.
So that's a really fun way, because I didn't pick up. This is the first time I'm picking up on this, really. Mm-hmm. So this is gonna be fun down the line. Rewatching those early Yar episodes again, just knowing that she's a lying whore.
Right. And if she lied about this, what else did she lie about?
You know what?
Did she get plastic surgery to become unappealing? Who knows?
She probably had sex with a guy and then regretted it the morning after.
Well,
That's what women do.
by this version of the story, it'd be sex with 7 guys.
In reality, they probably all regretted it after.
Yar, liquored them all up to get their consents and reverse raped a large group of able-bodied men.
I misinterpreted liquoring up as like some southern slang of like someone just licking your body up and down.
A liquor up.
She liquored him up.
Well, that too. We're inclusive here.
So we get this scene in 10 Forward, which also appears to be completely empty for some reason, between Ishara and Data. And this is, if you needed any convincing that Ishara was up to no good, here you go. It's being handed to you on a silver platter, where she talks about how much she loves Data, even though she's just met him.
This extends to later on, where Data's like, oh, and she says she wants to join Starfleet. And
Right.
And Picard says, really? That fast? Data says, yeah. And Picard's like, oh, great.
And Troy's just standing there like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Troy is never taken in by this, but nobody ever listens to her.
Yeah. Which, it's a bit of like a crying wolf situation, except
exactly.
It's more like when you never cry at all, despite it being your job.
Well, that's
just
toxic masculinity. Anyway, what else?
Data gets a little kiss.
He gets a kiss. He becomes robot enamored.
Yeah. She goes and does the it's working thing. She tells Hayne it's working.
So the plan here is to rescue the hostages. And that's what's working. We're going to rescue them. We're going to give them exactly what they want. It's working.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I'm sure a fair amount of people interpreted it that way.
Couldn't Hayne have just said, imagine there's no Ishara Yar. And he says, okay, Captain, you're right. They shouldn't have kidnapped your men. Let's go get them back. This plan would have worked exactly the same. Nothing here is contingent on them being taken in by Yar's sister.
Yeah.
It's just to have a moment of, I guess not even for the audience, because it's very apparent that she's working both sides.
Yeah. And especially if Hayne had been like, okay, I'll give you, like a garrison of men or whatever, that's even better, because now you have a bunch of guys going in. Any one of them could just go fuck with the shields or whatever.
Right.
Instead of just one fucking woman.
Nothing about this needed to be Ishara Yar.
No, wow, I hate that. I hate that you pointed that out to me. That's really bad.
And we started off low on the episode. Just to be clear.
And it works even less. It works even less because all of their attention is going to be on this woman. So, like, she can't even kind of clandestinely sneak away from the group. They're always going to be like, okay, where's Ishara?
Just a bad plan. Overly complicated and worse.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. But, okay, the one thing I will say, though, is that they have to remove some kind of, like, thing from her arm so that she doesn't get detected.
Oh, you know what that is? No, well... No.
It's arbitrary. No, it's not arbitrary because...
No, because let's say the plan is to send in a garrison of men, then you just remove the implants of a whole bunch of men, right? That's better.
You could, yeah.
The more people you have involved with this plan, actively, the better it is for your group.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right, yeah. All right, yeah, so whatever. Yeah, it's still stupid. She decides to get it removed, even though it's like she makes a big deal about it being a betrayal or whatever, which I guess it's not. They have the coordinates, and they go to beam down into like basically like the dead center of the Alliance's base. They do have to drill a little hole. I remember a lot of the reviews at this time They made special note of the effects using that tunnel boring scene.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure why they called it that, because I thought it was really interesting. They have this laser that just digs through the sand, it eats it all up.
It's a cool little
because apparently
they never really have to do, so it's interesting.
Apparently they can't teleport through sand.
Well, it's very dense sand. Don't hate it.
I really want to know what the canon explanation for this is.
Well, they use a laser.
Oh, okay.
Not a cannon.
All right, yeah. So there's no security conveniently because it's like the dead center of the base, which is where you never put security.
Well, I mean, it kind of. No, I think this is fine. With the idea that it's kind of baked in that it's impossible for them to infiltrate without setting off those detectors.
Yeah, sure.
So that's fine. The whole thing is dumb, of course, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Fine.
They get the hostages. Ishara runs away to go fuck with the shields.
And then Data has a come to Jesus moment.
The come on Jesus moment. Well, before that, or I guess around the same time, it turns out Ishara had her phaser set to kill, so she's been killing people.
Right. How dare she?
Which is bad. And yeah, Data's like, I can't let you do this because the excuse is that by disabling the shields, all of the men of the Alliance that are going to be killed will be on that'll be on the Enterprise's hands.
I mean, which makes sense.
The Federation's hands. Yeah, sure.
But it's I think that this is a scene where Data's I don't know, emotional shallowness works against the scene, because it just comes across as very meaningless on Data's part. This is going back to my complaints at the very beginning of this discussion, where Data says, "Oh, this was your plan all along. You betrayed us."
Yeah. So
it doesn't really feel like a punch there.
What it should have been was Ishara. The plot of the episode, during the course of the episode, Ishara should have actually visibly become attached to Data in some way, and then when he reacts so emotionlessly, she gets upset about it.
Yes, that would have been good.
You know what I mean?
I think there's an attempt at that.
At least would have had.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No,
I think there's an attempt at that when she tries to implore Data to leave. Like, you don't have to be caught in this.
Right.
But it's
right.
It's not.
But it's like it's such a stupid, like, it's
not effective, and it's not.
There's nothing actually like connecting them as. It's not engaging.
No,
at all.
I don't think it is either, but I think that is the way to go. To use her emotions as a stand-in for a reason the audience should care. I don't know.
Yeah. She is a dumb woman, so she needs to scream about things.
Data should have done a kung fu flip and kicked the phaser out of her hand.
He should have got out his little light sword
and deflected the blast.
Yeah.
Now, Data does have a cool moment where he holsters his phaser in a very showy way. Did you notice this?
I didn't, actually.
So Data, after they disarm Ishara with the help of Riker, Data walks up and Captain Morgan's the defense mechanism. Puts his leg up.
Okay, yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
And in that moment, he does a twirl with the phaser and holsters it quite flashily. That is oddly show off, but I don't know, was kind of visually neat, I guess. And then they just click one button and every crisis averted.
And then it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, then they go back to the Enterprise,
and the whole episode is explained for the audience.
Yeah. Well. First they they have Ishara on the bridge, and they call Hane, and they were like, "Well, you fucked up," and then Hane's like, "Oh well."
Can you blame me for trying?
Come on.
I'm a stinker.
And we have the typical dynamic where Riker is the guy who says what the audience is thinking, and Picard has to shut him down for the sake of diplomacy,
scolding the audience essentially.
Yeah. And Picard tells Data to take Ishara to the teleporty room,
which
because apparently, yeah, go ahead.
I take umbrage with Picard here. His rationale just seems to be that we let our guard down, which forgives her crime. Which doesn't make sense to me. Sure, you guys could have been more alert, but she still, attempted to kill half the planet, a large group. Why is that?
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of their problem, isn't it?
I guess, but
she didn't really do anything to the Federation. It's
not presented as this isn't our business, but rather we let ourselves get taken in, so we can't do anything.
Sure. It's all like we said earlier. It's all just completely just way too convenient. And so he sends Data along with her to the teleport room. And I suppose this is because we're supposed to take away from this episode that Data was very close to her, and the rest of the crew knew this somehow, or something. Well, you get what I'm getting at here?
Yeah, but after they had sex, Data came out and told everybody, "Oh, we did it! I stuck it
in." Captain, I have had coitus with Ishara. So here's a scene that really could have gone with a couple of different rewrites, maybe. She goes up on the thing, and her last words were, Data, I wasn't always lying to you. That time we spent talking, that was the closest thing to friendship I've ever had, if that means anything to you. And I was sitting here waiting for him to say, it does not.
That would
have been a way to end it. That would have been way better. Instead, he's just like energized and he stares meaningfully at her.
Well,
I'm actually angry, but like that would have been a way better cap. Just been like, I don't give a shit.
I think him saying energized implied that. She reaches out emotionally and he doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah. In the same way he almost killed that guy because we're not allowed to have Data actually do anything bad. Seems like a cop out to me. And this is even worse than that, I think. Because like we discussed earlier, the way this is filmed, it is almost trying to imply that Data is emotional about it, even though he's not supposed to be.
Yes, I agree with that.
So I didn't like that because, again, he says energize and the camera lingers on him. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
and then
the wrap up with Riker.
Yes, then the episode explains the themes for all of the autistic audience members.
But if we might be betrayed, why should we trust?
So, yeah, great. I think I'd give it, and this might be generous, I'd probably give it a 2 out of 5.
Yes, I think that's accurate. Between 1.75 maybe is like the best saucer sep I could give it, but I'm gonna round up. It's, I don't know, it's boring in a lot of ways, it's unsatisfying in a lot of ways, it's wastes potential in others. It's also a story that doesn't feel like it needs to be told, which gives it a feeling of inconsequentiality, inconsequence. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So there's really nothing about it that resonates or even attempts to. And I don't know. Am I just supposed to enjoy sexy Shara? Is that the hook? She's got a onesie. Hugs her form.
I kind of enjoyed that.
I know you did. And I know a special guy out there enjoyed it too, and continues to this day.
It continues to. It's probably just caked in dried semen.
I can't wash it because then it'll lose the smell.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Look, I honestly think the episode was fairly engaging in the way it was shot and scripted, even if the script was occasionally unintentionally funny. But I always liked that.
Yeah, I do think the production was stepped up on this episode, but I wish the material matched it.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to like really hate it though, because it's like I at the very least was not like checking my phone through the episode.
Sure. But
Or
I think
sleeping or like doing my nails.
I think our standards are rising. The saucer steps exist on a sliding scale as the series progresses. And by this point, this quality, I can't give it more than a 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think 2 is fair.
Yeah. All
right.
Tasha Yar stories that are not yesterday's Enterprise are cursed.
She's cursed.
That's why she was killed by a tar monster.
Imagine being Denise Crosby. Jesus Christ.
Rather be Bing.
Well, yeah, yeah, you would.
Which I has always played second fiddle to Google, but still.
Nice. Very nice. But it's like you're the granddaughter of, first of all, 2 pretty attractive people, and you look like that. First of all, second of all, you're the granddaughter of someone who is extremely successful in show business and stuff, and you petered out at the beginning of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
What is your grandfather remembered for? Oh, being one of the finest vocalists of all time. And what are you remembered for? I'm not remembered.
Yeah. What are you remembered for? Going to Star Trek conventions, sitting on a panel of Star Trek guys. I did want to note though, and we didn't talk about it at all, but Beth, who did Ishara, I thought this was actually one of her first actually acting roles. Before that, she was a model and like a backup dancer in like fucking Bon Jovi videos.
Yeah, I think she was on the Ho train of that one professional wrestler.
Yeah, the Ho train. I thought she was a decent actress, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, considering how distracting a lot of the bad performances are in a lot of Trek episodes, pretty good.
Yeah, and especially compared to Hayne in the same episode here, who was not good, in my humble opinion. Very over the top, and he was always making this like stupid face. But I do also just want to note that Beth had an even worse career than Denise Crosby. So,
which is a real
what are you gonna do?
Low watermark, a real bar to limbo under.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Yeah, she was cursed to just play bit roles in like TV and TV movies.
Ask me some trivia.
And all right, so I'll give you a couple here.
Oh.
As always, sourced from Memory Alpha. This episode was intended as an allegory on...
Oh, God. Let's see. Is this a current event from the time, or is it more philosophical?
No, it's general. It's okay. General. Yeah.
So there's two... Is it like a civil war? I'm focusing not on Yar, but on the warring factions.
A very inspired choice, yes.
Is this gang
You're
wars?
Getting there. Yeah, it's gang warfare.
Yes.
And this is, I'm sorry, an allegory on gang warfare? What?
You know, that thing that's not the focus of the episode at all?
not even is it not the focus, it's barely even shown at all, if at all. I mean, it's not. I mean,
You would need
there's nothing visceral about the way these gangs are shown.
you would need like innocent bystanders to die.
Sure.
That seems like the bigger message on gang warfare, how it
As far-
impacts communities.
As far
and
as
such.
we can tell, yes, as far as we can tell, this planet's entirely peaceful except for the fact that it's divided and sometimes these guys fight each other. Or like steal alcohol.
Yeah, when are they going to shoot up a convenience store?
That's right. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but we had a party after filming this episode.
Well, you know that
And,
I remember less than 30% of the parties that we've been to.
Well, we had lots of parties, so my question is, do you remember what we were celebrating at this party? What milestone we were celebrating?
It's possible it's the 100th episode. No. No, because there's like plus 20 in each of the... Yeah, this wouldn't be the 100th episode. Is it the 100th episode? It's
Not the 100th episode.
Okay. Good. Is it the first year anniversary of Gene's death?
We would be celebrating that, but no.
No. Gosh, I'm trying to even find just a sensible guess here.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. It was a milestone relative to another TV show.
Oh, is this the one episode longer than the original series?
It is, yeah.
That was a pretty good hint. We've officially eclipsed
just
them.
as someone who doesn't think about the original series at all, I thought maybe that would like squeak by you, like you wouldn't be thinking about it.
Well, without that hint, I definitely would not have gotten there.
I can't believe there are 79 episodes of that show.
Yeah, some people count the animated series.
Well, it does have a sexy cat girl.
That's right. Which, much like Dirty Pair.
Much.
All right, well, with some amount of trivia success, it's going to close out yet another week of the Readier Room, this eternal purgatory in which we find ourselves.
Mhm.
Before we go, I want to shout out our sponsors, Denny's, home of the Grand Slam and Moons Over Miami, and also the Pep Boys, home of the 15-minute oil change. You can go to any of these establishments, say the word Readier when completing your order for 15% off. And now, if you go to Denny's online website and type in the code Readier, they'll give you 15% off your purchases there. As we all know, Denny's online website, the finest purveyor of Denny's-themed t-shirts and apparel. Also, they sell buttons. And I know that I wouldn't be caught dead without my my other moon is a Miami button affixed to my bag. So keep that in mind. I'll leave you guys to your own devices for another week. Don't do anything that we wouldn't do. And until we next meet again, please stay readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
Should have told him to mind his own damn business. But I stroked the beard thusly. Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?